episode of Moms on a Mission is brought to you by our good friends at Beverly Hills Precious Metals. In light of recent bank instability, diversification is a must. Go to bh-pm.com to protect your wealth today and use promo code MISSION to save a little money. That's bh-pm.com, promo code MISSION. And we would love to hear from you. Email us your questions or comments at moms@momsonamission.net. That's moms@momsonamission.net. And we cannot wait to connect with you. Go to momsonamission.net and fill out your information. That's momsonamission.net. And please follow us on your favorite platform.
Today's show is a call to all moms who are concerned about what is going on with schools across America. We need an army of patriots to stand up to tyranny and fight those who stand in the way of liberty. Our guest today is doing just that. She is the founder and chairperson for the Tulsa chapter of Moms for Liberty. And in just a few short months, Moms for Liberty Tulsa has become a resource for many parents across Tulsa County, as well as others in surrounding counties. Moms for Liberty is making a difference one step at a time. Please welcome mom and fellow patriot, Janice Danforth.
Hi. Hey, Janice.
Hi.
Thanks for being here.
Welcome to the show.
Me. Sorry, you might feel like you're on an airplane next to people very close to you.
Hello.
We get cozy here.
Yes,
Moms
very cozy. Well, tell us who you are and what you do, Janice.
Well, my name is Janice Danforth, and I am a mom of two. I just graduated my oldest. He actually graduated early. He's only 16 and just finished. And he also has a year and a half of college credits already.
That's impressive.
Wow.
I love that.
You've done a good job.
So was he homeschooling at that time?
No, he graduated from Bixby.
Okay.
My kids have been in public school until this year. My youngest, I took him out of Bixby.
Okay.
So he was homeschooled for a semester, and then I put him in Victory in January.
Okay. So you're a mom, and you've been very successful at that. Sounds like.
Yeah, I would say
Yes.
it's something, right?
Yeah.
Two great boys. They're awesome. So I'm proud of both of them for different things.
Mhm.
They are incredible boys. So,
Well,
and then I
great.
started the chapter of Moms for Liberty in October of 21. So Moms for Liberty was founded in January of 21. So I got kind of early in on the boat, so to speak. And it was because of my son who just graduated is why I started paying attention, because he had a teacher at Bixby that was teaching his government class that was more liberal leaning
Mhm.
in how she was teaching. And my son is very smart, obviously, and very aware politically. So he would come home and be like, I don't think this is great. She's teaching this, this, and this. So I brought it forward and to the principal. And basically, after a few back and forth, the final decision was, well, you can take your son out of that class and put him in a different one, which would take him out of an honors class and put him in non-honors. So as you can already tell, my son's very intelligent and ahead. So to take him out and punish him for that, I was
That's
like,
total
thank
punishment.
you, but no, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of when I started being aware that there were problems in the education system. And then kind of around that same time, I started following Moms for Liberty and just kind of thought, well, what if I start a chapter here? There
Mhm.
must be more parents than just me with this problem and feeling like nothing's getting done or you're not being taken care of with your child. So that's kind of how it started. And it's
Okay.
grown. We're at over 1,000 on our Facebook private page now, parents. So
let's back up a little bit back to the situation in Bixby. So around what time, when was that?
So he was a freshman. So that was during COVID-ish.
Okay.
So it would have been the spring, I guess, of 21, maybe the fall. I can't remember exactly, but
Okay.
somewhere, kind of the tail end of COVID. And because when I started Moms for Liberty, people were still concerned about masks and stuff going
Yes.
back that August of 21. So it was before that.
So your concern was curriculum based or
Correct.
pedagogy? What was the,
Yeah.
you can give us a little bit more detail on that.
This particular teacher is definitely left leaning, although she claims to be a Republican, which is kind of
Who
what
knows what that is anymore.
Right.
Yeah, we don't really use those words anymore.
No, right. And in Oklahoma, I mean, I'm from Colorado. We moved here 6 years ago. So we thought, it's Oklahoma.
Everybody in Oklahoma.
It's a red state.
Yes.
Yeah.
Surprise, we're not. So there's a lot of people that say they're Republican and they're not. And this particular teacher is one of them. Even the principal was like, oh, but she's a Republican. And I'm like, well, no, she's not, because if she were, she wouldn't be teaching this. So one of the things that was really stood out was she was teaching them about the electoral college versus the popular vote. And this was during the election
Okay.
for president.
Yeah.
And she was leaning towards, or kind of pushing towards, the popular vote as a route that we should be going. And I was like, no, absolutely not. There's a reason the founding fathers set up the electoral college so that the little guy has a vote.
That's
And
right.
so the popular vote is obviously the way the left wants, because the popular vote is
Sure.
going to always be favored that, because the cities are going
Yeah,
to
Republicans
Right.
would
And-
never win again.
And if you can
Right.
increase the
Or conservative.
population by a few million,
Right.
every other
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things. And then certain podcasts, one was talking about, it was kind of vilifying police, and that if they saw a black person versus a white one on the street, that they would go after the black one. And
So
so it was-
basically a CRT type.
yeah.
Indoctrination.
And so it was like things that we're against, that I don't believe in, that my son does not believe in. And this teacher should not have been doing that. A goal of the teacher should be to teach them education, not to teach them what they believe in.
Yes.
So no student should know what they believe. Even if I was going to be a teacher,
That's right.
my students shouldn't know that I'm extremely conservative. I should just be saying, here's the information. And we're not seeing that with some teachers.
And that's so disappointing, because by high school, for sure, they should be at least showing both sides. Like if she wanted to say, one way is to
Absolutely.
teach that there's the popular vote, and then there's the electoral college, and then going back to primary sources and saying, why did our founding
Yes.
fathers choose this system? Why is it better? They
Right.
put a lot of thought into it and a lot of prayer. It wasn't just something
Right.
they did on a whim.
And, talk about, why they say that they started it, whether you agree with it or not, like go to
Yes,
the
whether-
primary source
Exactly.
and say, why did our founding fathers create this? What was
Yes.
their thought?
And then have some healthy debate amongst the students.
Right. And I
I-
actually suggested that to the principal.
And
like,
what did they
I
say?
said, if she's going to have this kind of conversation, then she needs to show the other side. And she's not doing that. She's showing one
Mhm.
side. So of course they say, well, we'll talk to her and yada, yada.
Mm.
Nothing happened.
And nothing happened.
That's
Well, it's
not
happening
uncommon.
all over.
It
That,
is.
Oh,
that
yeah.
exact
Public
conversation,
school, private
Absolutely.
school.
private, Christian, private,
Everywhere.
public, like that whole conversation, because it's an agenda and it's a cultural war.
Absolutely.
And it's seeped in through the teachers' colleges, through the universities, and it's everywhere.
It's-
But they
yeah.
should not be teaching their opinion.
No.
Bottom line.
Moms
at all.
don't want that. Dads don't want that.
No.
Well, kids
No.
don't want that.
No, they really don't.
I mean, they really want to engage in critical thinking.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so in response to your concerns, you formed a chapter, Moms for Liberty in Tulsa.
Right.
Explain what you did. Like, how did you do that?
So to start a chapter, they vet you, they interview you, that kind of thing. You have to speak before a school board. And so I did. And then you have to have like a little meeting ahead. You have to get at least 10 members or 10 people to be interested for them to allow you to start a chapter. So that process takes a couple months by the time, they only do school board meetings once a month. So it's not like you can do it right off. So I started that process probably end of summer, and then was official in October of 21. So, but they're pretty careful in how they choose you. They ask you some questions because they had a few in the beginning that were trying to sneak in that
Mhm.
were not like-minded.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to kind of do a better
Vetting.
thorough,
Mhm,
process
mhm.
just to make sure that you had the right folks in.
That's good wisdom.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. They're learning as they go since they're so new. And we have grown tremendously over the last year and a half. It's insane.
How many
Um,
do you know nationally?
I forget. It changes so many. We're at about 45 states now. And
That's incredible.
And I think it's over 300 chapters now. So
That's
close to
wow.
300.
And
can't
I
remember the
keep
latest.
hearing it. Like we had the opportunity to interview Pete Hegseth
Oh, yeah.
about a week and a
Couple
half
weeks
ago. And he referenced Moms for Liberty, and that he had spoken at an event the night before that we had
Mhm.
gotten to interview him. And he was very high on Moms for Liberty. Maybe his wife's a part of it. I don't know. He
Yeah.
didn't say that, but I thought that was exciting that you guys got that plug and
Yeah.
you're getting some high
Oh, yeah.
profile people involved.
The true patriots, they see what we're doing and they know where we're going, what our mission is, and they support it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's people even that are Republican, or I'll do Republican. We see this
Air quotes. If you're
quotes.
listening on Apple, she just did the air quotes.
Air quotes. Yeah. That are trying to put a bad name on us and make us
Oh, of
like we're
course.
crazy, or that we have,
Extremists.
that we're alt-right, all these crazy things. And all that is a way to try to silence us, but
Yeah.
we're not silenceable. Sorry.
No.
Yeah.
The name calling thing wears itself out pretty soon.
Yeah.
And you can't call everybody crazy.
Well, and here's the thing, you can lie all you want, but the truth silence the lies. And
Yeah.
and
that's true.
generally speaking, mama bears get louder when you do things
Yeah,
like that. So
that's right.
it's better to not do that.
Yeah.
And if you have to call names and you have nothing else, that's
nothing
only-
of substance.
Yeah, you have
That's it.
You have no truth.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So can you kind of give us the mission of Moms for Liberty? And we've talked about it, how you formed it, but what is the mission?
Yeah. So the mission really falls down to two main points for us, and what we focus here in Tulsa County is accountability and transparency. So we want accountability in our school leaders and our school board members, and then we also want transparency. So in the case of what happened with my son, where the teacher was teaching something she should not have, that transparency needs to be in the forefront, and then the leaders need to be accountable or make her accountable. So that would be an example of what didn't happen that should have been done differently, and that teacher should have been held accountable, and then therefore they should have been transparent in what was happening, even to the other parents in that class.
Yeah.
This happened, and with this teacher, we got it brought to our attention. We are going to smash this. This isn't going to happen. We apologize. If this was brought home, maybe you want to talk to your kids about it and find out, so you can decide for yourself at home how you want to handle it. Those are things that I feel would be vital for public ed to be successful moving forward. Currently, what we see is just a lot of protection of the system rather than really fighting for the student. They're fighting for the system. The system has failed, and it's destroying our country.
Oh,
So we're not
yes.
against, and that's the other thing they like to say, oh, we're against public ed, we're anti-public ed. No, we're not. We're against the system. The system isn't working. We have lots and lots of millions and billions of dollars spent on education, and yet our kids can't read. Across the nation, third graders are reading at 35% proficiency rate. That's failure. And
Yes.
so, let's look at facts instead of just talking about, making up excuses as to why it's wonderful when you have all these statistics that show you otherwise. And so we want to bring that to the forefront and get back to education. We want kids reading. I want 100% literacy rate, not
Yes.
35%.
And I would like to make a plug for Battle for the American Mind, because they talk about this agenda. I mean, this is all part of the agenda to dumb our kids down. I mean, when John Dewey, who really implemented the whole, standardized public education and implemented this slant and removing God and taking out our Western Christian paideia is what the book references. But that's all part of it, is not using critical thinking. I mean, John Dewey actually said that the grammar, rhetoric, and logic schools and teaching those, that was too difficult, and it was too challenging to the children. Yet all of our presidents, that's how they were taught, and that's what they learned. And so, I mean, it's just all part of the agenda, because if you dumb kids down enough, they can't use critical thinking, and then they can't stand up to you.
Right.
Like your son was able to stand up because he knew he was using critical thinking. But if you don't have that information, I mean, that's why slaves become free, right? They became free when you start educating them. And that's
exactly.
I mean, the Greeks did it. And so it's all part of the agenda, sadly.
And when I saw your web page, and we'll pull that up in a few minutes, but that first word, accountability, is because that is what is so lacking across America in so many different levels. But with education, whether that's the school board or with other government officials, people have just kind of fell asleep at the wheel. And unfortunately, it took COVID to wake a lot of us up. But that accountability piece is huge. And people don't understand. And again, referencing Battle for the American Mind, talking about money, $700 billion.
Billion with a B.
With a B. And we as taxpayers need to know where that money is going. You had every right to go into that school and ask those questions and get solid answers back. So people need to not be afraid. Your money, a lot of your money is going to public education. Like Janice just said, it's failing on so many levels. You just talked about reading, but let's talk about math and science.
It's all
and other areas. And it's not because we have dumb kids. That is not the problem. We have some very smart kids.
That's right.
We are just not using that money appropriately.
Correct. And a great example of the waste of money would be social emotional learning. This is really entwined within all subjects now. It's not just looking at, the troubled kids, which was kind of, if you want to look at it as that could be its purpose, it has now become, it's in a web through all subjects. And just last year, they spent across the nation $1.7 billion on social emotional learning. And that was up around 26% from the year prior. And it's just going to keep going up.
Yeah.
And that's another piece of indoctrination
That's
that is
right.
used to make these kids all think the same and process everything the same and react the same. And that is not what we should be doing.
And I mean, they're brilliant to do that. When you look at China, North Korea, when you
Right.
look at Germany, I mean, this is all propaganda, indoctrination, and it works.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
it sure does.
it just, I mean, Abraham Lincoln even said, you know, the philosophy of the schoolroom in one generation is the philosophy of the government in the next. So, I mean,
Absolutely.
he warned us. And so, I mean, they're accomplishing what they want, which is to destroy our country and disable America, really.
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
that's incredibly sad. What are some of the recent actions taken by Mom for Liberty, in Tulsa? And then do you have any future plans?
Future or recent ones, we did endorse Tulsa Public Schools and Bixby Public Schools. So during that race, which was held here in April, we did endorse. That did not go our way. Tulsa Public's difficult anyways,
Yes.
because we all know why. I mean, that tends to be more liberal when you're in the city. And there's a lot of rhetoric out there, unfortunately, against what we're doing and what we're fighting for. So that was one thing we spent a lot of time on here in the late winter, early spring. We do have a goal here. So with Moms for Liberty, one thing that's pretty cool, we have multiple chapters across the state. So to be able to push legislation, we have to have an actual committee. And the reason they do that is that one chapter isn't deciding, oh, I like this bill. And the other chapter is like, I don't like this bill. One's going for it and one's going against it. It's to make everyone unified within. So we would become like Moms for Liberty Oklahoma when we're pushing legislation. And so we're going to be forming a legislative committee this summer, and that will involve all the chapters. We have two us in Canadian County, and we just got a new one in Garfield County. So we have three
Wow.
now, and
That's so
we're going to
exciting.
actually, Dana from the Canadian chapter, we're both going to meet on Thursday. We're going to go to the state school board meeting, but after that, we're going to meet with a lady looking at the Shawnee area, see if she's interested in starting one. So anyway, back to that. So that's really something I want to push for next year. Next session is to be able to have bills, because we're not seeing changes happening in the school districts. They really push against us, and we really get no movement. School boards are all bought and paid for by the school districts, and they just are yes men. They just say whatever they want. That doesn't mean all of them are, but the majority of every district, that's the case. And so we get nothing done. It's really frustrating. So if we have to then go to the next level, which is legislation, which I would rather not have to do that. I wish we could solve it locally, but when they are fighting so hard against us, it's hard to get that done. So we're going to hopefully push for some bills and have that weight of Moms for Liberty behind it. And so we're excited about that. I think one of the bills we would like to see for next session is to move the elections to the general election in November instead of being in the spring, so we can get more people out and voting. The schools are against that notion. They don't want that happening. The teacher unions are against that. OSSBA is against that. So there's a lot of push against it, but I think if we can get more weight behind it, it was real close this year. It just didn't quite happen, but hopefully next session we'll be able to make that change.
Well, I hope our audience is listening, because if the unions are behind it and the OSBA and the other, the school boards are fighting against the election being changed, and think about that for a minute.
Like, why would they do that?
And that's a waste of taxpayer money.
That's
Let's
right.
have the elections when they're supposed to be. We don't
Right.
need all these special elections.
No.
It requires all the manpower, opening up churches and other
Absolutely.
places. And to whose benefit is this? So this is one of those areas where we just need to wake up and ask our state legislators to think about this and make the right decision for all of Oklahoma, not just the teachers unions.
Right.
And I think just people haven't really known about it. So
No,
just
they
educating
don't.
people is a big factor. And
Right.
I also want to point out, while you're talking about the legislative matters, is just having Ryan Walters on our team now.
That's going to be very huge.
Since
for
you
us.
can't get much done locally, I feel like and I would like your opinion on that. I just from being an outsider, I've gotten the chance to meet Ryan during the election, and he seems like a go-getter. And it's really giving me a lot of joy and happiness to watch him have so much energy up in Oklahoma City. And
Oh yeah,
he's really advocating for accountability
and transparency,
which is that's what they're fighting against. So I mean, I think that's going to be big and huge for us moving forward.
Yeah, he and I have a great relationship. I mean, he just texted me an article here over the weekend. So we communicate and we are on the same page.
Good.
And he's bold. And I love that about him. He's not afraid to be called the names. I even replied back like, I know it's probably,
he's taking some hits.
I get called a lot of names and he gets it tenfold. And he still fights and goes down that road, and he's all about parental rights.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we are. That's what Moms for Liberty is. That's really the meat of what we are, is parental rights, that the parent gets to decide the upbringing of the child, the education of the child. And if we don't like something, then it's our right and it's our duty to protect our child and rid whatever it is that's happening in the school system.
And really, you're right, constitutionally, but also monetarily. Like, can you imagine investing in a stock or investing in a company and pouring your money into that and having no say on what happens? I mean, I think that's crazy to think that they're going to take your money, but yet you're going to have no say on your most precious cargo, your children.
And that's why the school choice bill is so, I think, important. And the status, we've passed that, correct?
It did. Yeah.
It did pass.
The tax credit.
Yeah.
Along with the monies that the schools will get. It was like 600 million, I think, somewhere in that.
I mean, that's a pretty big accomplishment. I mean, they had a lot of things on their agenda, and I feel like Ryan was able to get some good things passed and at least, move the needle a little bit. So I don't want people to be discouraged out there because of some of the elections. I know those local elections didn't quite go the way we wanted, but we're still moving the needle on some things.
Yeah. And it takes time. I mean, this is a marathon. This is not a race, and people need to keep that in mind, because it's easy to get frustrated and just feel like, oh, what's the point? And I have those days where I'm like, ugh.
We all do.
I tug a lot,
When you think about how long it's been since we've been working, I mean, this has only just been a few years, and this has been going on for
decades.
Yes. Decades versus 3 years. I mean,
Yes.
if you were training for a marathon, or if you were training for anything, I mean, you would not be able to come up against somebody who's been training for 20 or 30 years. So it's going to take time, but I think that's important to point out that there has been some growth, and there has been, we have been able to move the needle a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah. And the books is a great example of that, because we started that, when I first became a chapter chair of Moms for Liberty, was around the same time, bringing forward books that were inappropriate, and Moms for Liberty was bringing that to the limelight. Now we're at a point, and, this is a year and a half, 2 years later, there's bills being created and passing, and now the governor just needs to sign it.
So awesome.
To really enforce that and protect our kids' innocence, because these books, and trust me, I've got stacks of them. It's frustrating when you have senators that are Republican, and again, I'll do the air quotes, that are like, this doesn't exist, or like McBride is a perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
I'll call him out because he keeps blindly saying, this isn't there, it isn't there. And I literally send him examples, and it's like crickets, so it's either you're being willfully ignorant, or you're okay with it. When you're shown this material and you're still not willing to open your eyes,
I call it complicit.
There's a problem.
He is not being courageous.
Okay.
He's not standing up and doing what's right. And he's really not representing what most Oklahomans want.
No.
Yeah.
And I would guess most of his constituents would not agree with where he sits on that.
No, if you were to read these books aloud, like some of you guys have been doing, which I think is very effective, and they go, oh, wait, you can't read that here.
You can't read that at school board meeting, but yet you're okay.
But you're sending a sixth grader, fifth grader, even younger.
Right. Oh, yeah. They're perverse.
Okay. So tell us how to get involved in Moms for Liberty. What can women, men, grandparents, I mean, it's open to, I know it's Moms for Liberty, but I'm sure you'd take grandparents.
We do. We love any and everyone. So Moms for Liberty is not just for moms. We have dads, grandparents, your neighbors, uncles, anyone. So we are not just one singular mom. It's a whole group of us, and it needs to take a whole group of us. We can't just do this on our own. There's chapters all throughout, and you can even start your own chapter if you don't live in Tulsa County. So there's lots of ways to get involved, but we meet once a month, and we meet at Evergreen Baptist Church in Bixby.
Okay.
And it's a great big facility. So we have room for lots, and we want everyone to show up. In fact, last month, we had a lady that came who talked about gender ideology. Her daughter was groomed into transitioning, and she's been fighting that battle. And so we decided to invite every superintendent from Tulsa County and every board member to come to listen, because this is a really hot topic, and it's something that is happening in the schools. And we had 3 show up total.
Wow.
So
that's a lot.
2 from Union came, and 1 from Tulsa, which was Elena Ashley.
Oh, yes. We love Elena.
Yeah. She doesn't really count because she's on our side.
Yeah, exactly. And I did have 1 from Bixby. He called me after the fact, and he apologized. He meant to come and he didn't. So 1 from Bixby was going to, but didn't.
Okay.
But otherwise it was, I can't come. And very few even communicated anything. So it just goes to show there's not an interest in working with us. We're bringing things forward. We've been trying to work with them, but there's really a wall up. And so the more and more people get involved, the more and more people that go to school board meetings and voice your concerns, speak up. You don't even have to speak at them. Just show up.
Yeah.
If someone's going to speak, go there to support them, because that really speaks volumes when a board sees a room full of people. Because when I go, we usually get a group that shows up, and that speaks volumes. It shows that there is a lot of parents and community members that are concerned and are wanting to be there, and it really makes them a little more uncomfortable with what decisions they're making.
And we've experienced that in the Tulsa City Hall, the City Hall meetings. I mean, it has just been like we walked in and there's like 10 of us and 50 on the other side.
Yeah.
And you just can't help but at least minorly be affected by that. I mean, volumes speaks, very loudly.
Right.
Well, and I think it's good when people it's making me think, what can I do? How can I get involved? There's lots of ways to get involved, and Moms for Liberty is one of them. And so momsforliberty.org could be how you get to your website. And I've looked at the website. It's great. It has some action items, ways to join. And your next meeting is coming up fairly soon.
It is. It's in June. We're going to co-host with Citizens for Liberty out of Broken Arrow.
Oh, great.
So we'll be doing that. It's going to be in Broken Arrow. I'll put that up on our website too here in the next week or so, and I'll have the location on there. And we're going to be hosting Drummond. So
so y'all come and ask your questions.
Get your questions ready.
AG Drummond.
Yeah.
So when do you know when your meetings are? Like, are they the same time every month?
They are. We do the second Tuesday of the month, but this one, because we're co-hosting with Citizens for Liberty, is going to be Monday, and I can't think of the date. Monday, the 12th of June.
Yeah, that's right. It's the
Okay.
12th.
Okay.
So normally though would be on that Tuesday, but this one we changed because that's the date they had.
So is it like the second Tuesday of every
second
month?
Tuesday of the month at 6:00?
And
Right.
where is it located?
Evergreen Baptist Church in Bixby.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Well,
So I mean, they could just come and learn and
Absolutely. And anyone's welcome. We're not opposed to people from the other side. If you want,
sure, we'd
you
love
don't
that. Yeah.
agree with us and you want to learn more, ask questions, show up, because we're ready for that. We want to have a dialogue, and that dialogue is missing. We can't just be calling names and having like anger back and forth. There needs to be a point where this country can say, okay, we don't agree, but how can we get rid of those extreme thoughts and just get people who are willing to have a conversation? And it's really hard to find that.
And I think we just need to keep saying that. We have to stop the polarization, because whoever it is, the puppeteers that are doing all this are trying to keep us separated that way, when really most people agree
on 80% of it.
80% of it.
Yeah.
And we can figure out the other 20%.
That's right.
And I think we talk about this, Miriam and I talk about this a lot. We can rally behind, we love families. We want our children to do well. We want our grandchildren. I don't know any people that don't want their families to thrive and do well.
Right. And I think there's a purposeful division between parents and teachers. And I think that's by design as well, because if the administration doesn't have control of the teachers and the teacher union don't anymore, they lose.
Yeah,
if the teachers and parents can work together, which most of them, I would say, are the same page, and start exposing the teachers who are doing those wrong things and not supporting them, but coming out and saying, we don't agree with that. I don't teach that way. you're going to see a change, but it's going to take them standing up. And a lot of parents and teachers are afraid to do that because they get retaliated against, whether it's from their principal or other teachers or parents, or they're afraid, like if for a parent is afraid that they're going to retaliate against their child. And that's
how do you push
the
through
biggest
that
fear that I hear.
How do you push through that? Because we've heard that too from
Oh,
other
man.
parents.
I mean, I can speak for myself that I have been very vocal to a point where I drive Bixby crazy. And my kids were never treated differently because of it. The teachers were always fair with them. I don't think, generally speaking, that's going to happen. Not that it won't, because I know I've heard other parents that say it has, but you have to be willing to be brave and stand up, because the reality is if that happens and they start retaliating against your kid, then you have grounds to do pretty serious legal action. And if you have proof and you have that, so you're going to have where your kid is filming it or has email or some way, man, that's gold. So you just have to be like, if you're willing to stand up, that could happen. And if it does, we'll help you get to that next step to take care of it.
And don't you think it helps to have somebody to lock arms with too, where you're not
yeah.
standing up alone?
Definitely. I mean, the first meeting I spoke at, it was me and my friend came with me, and that was it. But after I spoke, I had 10, 12 moms follow me out the building that were sitting in there and were like, what are you talking about? I want to be a part of this. So all it takes is standing up and speaking out. Every time I speak at a board meeting, I always have a handful of people that approach me after and say, I want to learn more. And I'm on your page. I'm on your side. How do we work together? So there's more out there that are willing to lock arms, like you're saying.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that, because I think that, like Julie and I will talk about it and we'll say, why are more moms not standing up, or dads for that matter? Why are they not standing up? And it's really, the fear of retaliation towards themselves or their kids. And it's paralyzing. But once you lock arms with somebody, you move, that fear dissipates at that point.
And that's what we're here for. We're here to support you in that and help you to figure out a way, if that is happening, how we can tackle it. But you have to put your child above your fear of that, and know that fighting for one means you're fighting for hundreds. I mean, I stood up to fight for my son, and by doing so, here I am today. Right. And we have 1,000 on our page, and we're just growing all the time. And we have a lot of respect in legislation, and a lot of them that we work with the senators and House reps, and it's awesome.
And the governor.
He loves us.
Yes.
Yeah, he does.
And Ryan Walters loves us. And I think that speaks volumes for what we're doing, and knowing we're on the right path. We just have to figure out to get more parents willing to put
So in
themselves
addition
out.
to that just reminded me when you said 1,000 followers, you have a Facebook page,
Right.
And also are you on Instagram and Facebook?
Yeah, I do everything. So Facebook is a private group.
Okay.
So you have to be vetted to come into that.
That's fair.
And then Instagram is open, so that I don't put a whole lot on there as often as I should, once a week or something. And that's usually just information thing. And I am on Twitter.
Okay.
I do that as myself.
And what is your Twitter?
My handle is JB Danforth.
Okay, we'll put that on our notes.
And Twitter, I get a little more feisty.
We love that. We like Twitter. I like Twitter.
Twitter's the spot where my personality can more shine in there, because that's kind of how everyone is. So, but I get called lots of interesting.
Well, after the
names.
show, I'm definitely going to.
I'm just going to follow you and then read for a while.
It's fun. So I enjoy Twitter. That's a fun one.
Well, Janice, thanks so much for coming on Moms on a
Thanks for having
Mission
me.
and all that you're doing for our kids, our families, our country.
Yeah.
So reach out to Janice, find their website at momsforliberty.org. They've got Facebook, Instagram, and her fun Twitter. So we'll link those all to our page. And we also love to hear from you. Let's get connected. Just go to our website at momsonamission.net. That's momsonamission.net. And also reach out to us and give us comments, questions, anything about our show that you'd like to share with us. That's going to be at moms@momsonamission.net, moms@momsonamission.net. And please follow us on your favorite platform.
Moms on a Mission is excited to partner with our friends at MyPillow. According to sleep experts and sleephealth.org, over 50 million Americans struggle to get a good night's rest. That's where MyPillow comes in. They make the best pillows, sheets, mattresses, and mattress toppers. Several years ago, I was having trouble falling and staying asleep due to neck and shoulder pain. Luckily, I heard an ad about MyPillow and decided to give it a try. After 3 or 4 days, I really began to feel a difference. I was sleeping better and my neck and shoulders felt so much better. MyPillow really does help you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. Moms on a Mission wants you to get a great night's rest too. Go to mypillow.com right now and use the promo code MISSION for up to 66% off your purchase. MyPillow products are made in America and have a 60-day money-back guarantee and lifetime warranty. Remember, go to mypillow.com, put in the special code MISSION for your special Moms on a Mission discount. Thank you and God bless.
Hey guys, it's Moms on a Mission here. Are you worried about your financial stability and protecting the money for which you work so hard? The problem is stock market volatility and inflation. You may be wondering what you can do to preserve your family's wealth. We at Moms on a Mission encourage you to reach out to our friend Andrew Sorcini with Beverly Hills Precious Metals. Andrew is the expert in educating you to help you find the right balance of gold and silver for your family portfolio. He made it so easy for me to add precious metals to my financial investments. I simply mailed a check to Beverly Hills Precious Metals and my silver showed up on my doorstep a few days later. It was so easy. Go to bh-pm.com to save a little money and tell them that Moms on a Mission sent you. That's bh-pm.com. Don't wait. Protect your wealth today by going to bh-pm.com and tell them that Moms on a Mission sent you. Hi everybody, it's Moms on a Mission here. Recent research from the CDC says that millions of Americans develop parasitic infections and symptoms often go unnoticed or are misdiagnosed.
Parasites are the cause of many health problems, such as anxiety, depression, chronic pain, fatigue, and unexplained digestive issues. We all need a common sense strategy to improve our health.
We at Moms on a Mission encourage you to reach out to our good friend, Dr. Jason Dean. Dr. Dean's Full Moon Protocol provides all natural detoxification and fights inflammation. These supplements are made with 100% organic ingredients and are proven to kill parasites safely and effectively.
To order your Full Moon Protocol, go to bravetv.store/mission to save $20 off your first order. That's bravetv.store/mission. Order Full Moon Protocol and start killing those foreign invaders that have been keeping you sick. That's bravetv.store/mission to receive $20 off your first order.